Hello, welcome to the Cinema Savvy Movie Podcast, the channel for film reviews, discussions and everything in between. I'm Chris Garner, joined by my co-host Tate in the Hour, and today we're getting into the thick of Oscar season, where we'll be reviewing Tom Hooper's The Danish Girl.
The first time we met, she propositioned me. She seemed so sure.
I was sure. It was so shy and mysterious. Is there something you'd like to tell me?
Is there something you'd like to know?
I'm your wife. I know everything. Could you help me with something?
You will not tell anyone about this.
Hello there. We're going to call you Lily. I want to sketch you. Lily. We should go out tonight. Give them something different. Lily. You're exquisite.
You're different from most girls. I feel I'd need to ask your permission before I kissed you.
So yeah, this was one for a long time. This was like way back when we started the channel, me and Georgia, and we saw the trailer for this and we were like, oh god, we're going to have to eventually watch this movie. The trailer came out, it was nothing but Oscar bait, and me and George, and I don't know if you do as well, we hate those kind of movies. It's so paint by the numbers. You can basically see like down to the performances, the direction, the casting, the type of movie it is as well. It is just going for those Oscar awards. But
the thing is, I'm okay with Oscar bait movies as long as they deliver, as long as they're good movies when they come out. So I quite enjoyed what was it, The Imitation Game last year. Felt very Oscar baity, but I thought it was very good. I enjoyed The Theory of Everything from last year, and then I also enjoyed the other films from the Oscar season. So I enjoyed Grand Budapest. I believe on my own channel I put that as my #1 film of the year. I hadn't seen Whiplash at that point, because that obviously overtook that. But yeah, I just love Oscar season in general, and I was actually quite excited to see this until I saw its reviews from the early critics.
yes, and that's actually what's most interesting about this film. So going by IMDb here, it's currently on a 6.5 out of 10
It didn't
rating.
used to be. It used to be on a 4.
Yeah, and obviously it's leveled out a bit since then. And I'm just sort of looking at general reception. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's currently at a 72%, which is good. That's nothing to be sniffed at. 70% is.
I think it may have been boosted because by the time we've recorded this, I hope I pronounced this right, Alicia Vikander has been nominated for not only 1 but 2 Golden Globes, which means that this film will be getting a lot more reception, as well as Ex Machina, her other film. People will probably be like, oh, okay, that's a pretty good nominated performance. I'll go see it. Was Eddie Redmayne nominated as well?
Yeah, he was.
Got it.
Yeah. No, and Eddie Redmayne just seems like one of those, like, bar Jupiter Ascending. He'll probably be nominated for every single film he's in. But Alicia Vikander, I mean, when I first saw Ex Machina, I was like, this is definitely going to be an actress to watch. She is fantastic in Ex Machina. If people haven't seen that movie, check out our review on that.
She's very different
channel.
in this film, though. Completely different role that she's playing.
Absolutely, and I was watching Mark Commode's review earlier of this movie, and he brought up an interesting point where he says, in terms of her character, in terms of the themes of each of these films, sorry, they are very similar because it's about identity and discovering oneself, and I thought that was pretty, like, a cool parallel between those films. But absolutely, I mean, she's completely different in this movie, and I stand by my statement, she is definitely one to watch, and I do hope that she wins something, whether it be for this or Ex Machina. I'd just sort of like to see her win an award of some kind, to be honest.
Is she up for supporting actress in this film? Or lead actress?
I will check that now, but I believe it's supporting actress.
I'm trying to think now. There were a couple of supporting actress nominations that she could go up against. I can only say from the top of my head that Steve Jobs, every goddamn time I cannot remember the name of the actress in Steve Jobs.
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet, yes. That performance, I think, should win it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anyone else nominated. You see, I want to do a separate video on this, but I was quite angry at the nomination list. And I can't wait for the Oscar nomination list to come out. And is at the time we're recording this, isn't it the Golden Globes tonight?
It is the Golden Globes tonight, yeah. I think it's in the UK. It's being shown at like 4 a.m. or something. There's probably a live stream.
I'm totally going to get up for that.
Now, last time I did watch the Oscars, the live stream all the way through the night, but unfortunately I have to be up early for work, so sadly I have to sort of like catch who won in the morning. But sort of going back to Danish Girl here, yeah, so I wasn't really hyped for this movie at all. I was actually kind of dreading seeing this movie. But as we said, like with the channel now, we're getting into Oscar movies. We've kind of owe it to ourselves to see every single one that comes out so that we have a good idea of all these movies. And if we're going to sort of get into our review now,
First thoughts?
I enjoyed it. It's not one I'd rush back and see again, like, for example, in terms of drama films, I think the Imitation Game from last year is a much stronger movie than this. It was just sort of one of those movies I watched. I thought, that's a well-made movie. It's a well-acted movie. There's not really any particular faults I have in it, but there's nothing really there that gravitates me. It's not my kind of movie, ultimately, I think is the main thing. Now, Tom Hooper is a great director. I mean, recently he did Les Mis. He did The King's Speech as well. So, you know, he's a great director that's done fantastic projects, and his sort of style in this movie shows evidently with the cinematography and the sort of tone of the film itself. And I just think it's a very nice sort of message. If you have IMDb up, do you just want to sort of go into the rough plot if no one's heard of the Danish Girl or doesn't know what it's about?
The Danish Girl is about a fictitious love story loosely inspired by the lives of Danish artists Lily Elbe and Gerda Wegener.
Yeah.
Am I pressing that right?
Yeah.
Lily and Gerda's marriage and work evolve as they navigate Lily's groundbreaking journey as a transgender pioneer. So basically, Eddie Redmayne, who on every poster, if anyone's seen the posters of this film, looks like really does. The makeup in this film is amazing. Looks like a woman, and it's about a transgender character going through the journey and going through it with his wife, and inevitably wanting to try out a groundbreaking surgery to get a sex change.
Yeah, and I'm just looking for... So this is set in the mid-1920s. So obviously back then it was a huge thing. Like, they say that this had never been done before. There are a lot of risks with the operation and things like that. But what I really enjoyed about this most... We'll go into the individual performances in a minute. But what I liked about this movie was sort of Eddie Redmayne and Alicia Vikander playing off each other. They're married, and it's not just Eddie Redmayne's struggle... well, I should probably say Lily's struggle with identity. It's also his wife and sort of having to accept this. I mean, it starts off as just a bit of fun where she like dresses him in women's clothing and paints him, but then he sort of obviously starts to enjoy that and discovers that this is actually who he is, and he would much prefer to be a woman. And then it's also her dealing with that, and I thought that whole motif throughout the film was played just beautifully. It's her try to move on after this and then find another relationship, and him coming to terms with this change in identity. I
found, from what the trailers showed of this film, I found it was going to go in a slightly different direction, and I'm actually glad it went in this direction because I kind of like this film. It wasn't too preachy. No. It was a smooth journey. It wasn't very sudden. I mean, it played out all the way through the film, just sort of hinting signs. And I think, like, when I go watch this again, because I probably will at some point watch this again, I want to have a look out for different directorial marks, like certain key points in the film where it's just small little hints towards small little changes. A lot of films have done it in the past, especially this year. A lot of films have been focusing on it. The smaller details playing a huge part in films, and I can only assume that this film has a lot of smaller details that I may have missed out on. If so, then wow, this film is actually really good, and it's being completely underrated. But for the time being, it's got a 6.5 on IMDb. I would give it a 7, personally. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't deserve a 6.5 or even the 4s that it was getting. It was a well-directed film, beautiful cinematography from the film as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I thought we were in Denmark. I was told by Reddit that they were actually filming in Toronto, which is interesting. But yeah, it was just a beautifully shot film, brilliant acting, and I think it might win stuff.
They're in Denmark, but everyone is magnificently British all the time, everywhere.
Okay, there's my one problem with the film.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to have the absolute most quintessential British accents.
Well, of course, that's why you get Eddie Redmayne, who is an incredibly well-spoken actor.
Have you not heard his American accent in Jupiter Ascending?
I didn't want to subject myself to that movie at all, so I've seen clips from like the trailer, and I know sort of how he speaks in that low, raspy voice, and then he'll just go completely insane and shout. But no, I haven't seen that. In fact, I haven't seen much Eddie Redmayne stuff really. I still haven't seen Theory of Everything, and that's almost on the top of my list of films I need to see.
I have a feeling that's going to be his magnum opus.
Yeah, and so let's get into the performances actually in this, because I want to talk a bit about Eddie Redmayne. I have gone on record before in saying I'm not the biggest Eddie Redmayne fan. I find his performance sort of very wooden sometimes, or stilted. As I say, I haven't seen Theory of Everything, so I'm not going to bring that into the comparison, but things I've seen him in, like Les Mis, for example, and then this, I don't know, there's just something about his performance that I never quite buy. And in this, his performance is more or less just folding his hands up towards his face, looking downwards and smiling.
Here's the problem which I have with Eddie Redmayne, because I do have a slight problem with him. With most other method actors, they usually take months and months to prepare, and it shows in their performance. With Eddie Redmayne, it looks like he took a look at the script and immediately put himself in that character.
Yes.
You can take that as a good thing, you can take that as a bad thing. He is a chameleon actor in the fact that he can immediately change. However, it shows because there is no depth to his characters. His Stephen Hawking's character that he played in Theory of Everything was very good, very well done. However, there was no depth to it. There was absolutely no depth to it. He played Stephen Hawkins. He didn't play the man Stephen Hawkins. He played the character Stephen Hawkins. I would have loved to have seen him play the the person in this film, the Danish Girl, but instead he played the character, and you can tell that a lot of this is not improvised. And what I always like to see with method actors is some form of improvisation. However, this film was controlled by the script, and maybe that was a downside to it. Maybe, but I feel like his characters, especially in this film, just not wooden, not bad, but rushed. No heart and no depth.
No, it was all very samey, I found, throughout this film, and I don't know if that's down to the script or the performance or a combination of both, but I do completely understand that. I mean, you summed it up perfectly there, where you say it just feels like he's took one look at the script and just gone straight for it. I mean, if we look at other films this year that have been based off a real-life character, I thought that Michael Fassbender's portrayal of Steve Jobs, that was playing a character.
He took time.
Yeah.
He took a lot of time on that one. He played Steve Jobs. He didn't play the character of Steve Jobs. He was Steve Jobs. And that's what you want from a film. I wouldn't say that he just looked at the script and went, okay, I'm ready. I reckon he looked at the script, thought about it for a minute, and then thought, okay, I reckon I could do that character, practice his accent, practice his acting slightly. But he didn't go into months, keep a diary, lock himself in a hotel room, talking about a certain performance which you may not like. But yeah, it's just no depth there, which I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, and we've sort of spoke a bit about Alicia Vikander, but I guess we can go more in depth here. Again, absolutely fantastic performance. To be honest, I think she steals the entire show of the entire film.
No, I agree.
The broad spectrum of emotion she shows in this film at the start, where she's just she's a painter, as is Eddie Redmayne, and they're just got the happy life, really. They're really nice, they're a good couple, their chemistry is brilliant, and then when this starts to happen, she's very supportive of him, and I love that about the character she was playing. But then, although she supports him all the way up until the very end of the film, she does have that that conflict and that struggle that she has to go through herself, and the film does, I think, show both sides of that effectively. And even at the point where Eddie Redmayne sort of starts, I keep calling him Eddie Redmayne, I should call him by the character's name, where where he becomes Lily and he starts wearing the women's clothing all the time and says, "This is who I am." is this spoiling much? We should have said at the start, this is a spoiler-free, but we will go into a few spoilers towards the end, but we'll warn you there. But probably my favourite scene of the film is where she's feeling really down. She says, "I need my husband back." And he says, "I'm not that person anymore. I'm sorry, I can't be that person. I'm Lily now." So it was scenes like that where her performance just absolutely shone for me, and then it's also her struggle of finding other relationships and dealing with that and moving on. But yeah, she's just fantastic. I can't wait to see what other projects she's got lined up in the next few years.
Exactly what happened last night?
There was a moment when I wasn't me. There was a moment when I was just Lily.
But Lily doesn't exist. We were playing a game.
Something changed.
He's lost his way. He needs a friend.
Let me help.
I think Lily's thoughts. I dream her dreams. She was always there.
I need my husband. I need to hold my husband. Are you all right?
The fact is, I believe that I'm a woman.
And I believe it too.
I would just like to say the title of this film is very well done. Whilst thinking about the film, I was thinking, The Danish Girl. Everyone's immediately going to think, oh yeah, it's Eddie Redmayne. However, if you look at the poster, it isn't just Eddie Redmayne. It's Alicia Vikander. And her journey as well, from the other side of things. She's the one who struggles in the film. She really does. She's the one who ends up painting, and she's the one who doesn't force Eddie Redmayne's change into Lily, but she's the one who kind of ignites the catalyst, and she lives with kind of what goes on with that, and you see her break down, you see her try to remain, I wouldn't say sane, but remain loyal and faithful, and that's a journey which is just as important as Eddie Redmayne's one. I think that is a very clever film title if they've gone for that. I'm not sure what they could have all called it anything else, really, because it is about the Danish Girl. But it could be about either of the characters, really, how they've portrayed the film.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the poster now, and they're sort of mirror images of each other almost on the poster, which is a great sort of design of the poster itself. Absolutely can't say enough positive things about her character, and I like all the way through the movie, even to the end, she's supportive of Lily almost as a wife at the end. Yeah. She's always there for Lily's character. Again, we sort of hinted at it. Oh, also, really quick, I just want to mention Ben Whishaw in this movie.
Yeah,
has sort of a bit
every movie this year, I think.
Yeah, I thought he was great in this film. I didn't even realise he was in the cast, and then he sort of showed up, and I thought he was a great performance. Again, very small part, but he has done a lot of stuff this year.
Thing is with Ben Whishaw, he shows up, he does a good role, but he hasn't been given anything a lead role yet. I know that, was it London Spy? A TV show on the BBC? My sister's been raving to me about it, but I need to watch it. Apparently that was a really good performance as him as a lead actor in a TV series, like a TV drama. But I want to see him as a lead or proper supporting actor in a major film, and I'd like to see his performances and his ability to act develop. I mean, I saw him in Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant film. That was a brilliant performance. He could be considered to be one of the main characters in that. However, we haven't really seen him in anything else like that.
No, he's always part of a large ensemble cast, I find, Ben Whishaw. I mean, this year I'm trying to think, he was in The Heart of the Sea, which we reviewed as well on the channel. He was in Spectre. I'm sure he's been in some more stuff this year, but I'm forgetting. But yeah, he is sort of always that actor that just sort of shows up, as you said, but he is a great actor, and I thought he played the role in this film very well. He's not in the film all that much, but I thought the scenes
are you ready
was
for
in.
this?
Yeah?
He was in The Lobster.
I still need to see that
Technically,
movie.
He was in Paddington, because Paddington was kind of released this year. Suffragette, The Danish Girl, Spectre, In the Heart of the Sea, and 6 episodes as the main character in London Spy. That's a busy year.
That's a good resume right there.
It's
fair
brilliant.
play to him. But yeah, he's really good. And it is a very small cast. There are a few other people, but they're sort of the main players, I would say. We also have, I'm trying to find the actor, the one who Alicia Vikander's character, Gerda, sort of has a relationship with at the end.
Yeah. Trying to find his character name.
I'm assuming it's him, is it? sorry about this. We do this live.
Yeah,
There's no
we do.
cuts. It's okay if we can't find it. We can just say that the entire cast is great and no one turns in a bad performance, really. Although Eddie Redmayne is sort of questionable.
Matthias Schoenaerts.
Yeah.
I hope I pronounced that right.
Probably
I
not.
really
Probably not.
not.
But let's talk about the cinematography a little bit as well as the music. Alexandre Desplat, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Again, probably not. I believe he did the soundtracks to the last few Harry Potter films.
Yeah.
Just checking really quickly to confirm that. Yes, he did. Yeah, Deathly Hallows 1 and 2. I love the music to this film, and coupled with the cinematography, there's a few scenes in this film that are genuinely beautiful. There's a scene where Eddie Redmayne's character goes to, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's some kind of strip club thing. Is it like a sort of a pleasure house, as you'd call it?
Yeah.
And he just sort of sits in a room. It's a circular room, and there's a woman in the middle sort of getting undressed and doing all kind of seductive dances, and there's like really creepy men just like in booths all around just staring. And he sort of goes there to learn about how a woman sort of carries herself and the movements. This is when he's first discovering that he is Lily, and he's just sort of copying her movements. And the woman in the middle sort of sees this, and I don't know if she knew, she could sort of tell, and it was almost like she was helping him discover himself in that one moment.
Yeah, that was a very interesting scene, actually.
Yeah.
To start off with, I thought, okay, this is a very creepy scene. Why is he doing here? Or what is he doing here? And then suddenly it turns into almost a beautifully mirrored scene.
Yeah.
Where she's taken aback. She understands, I think, what's going on, and she resumes her role, thinking maybe I'm helping this person out.
And I mean, she doesn't look at anyone else or sort of like look elsewhere. I mean, she is focused on him at that moment. And I thought that was a pretty nice scene altogether. I thought that was beautifully shot as well, how they did that.
And I have to say, the cinematography in general is very well done. The same guy who did Room from this year, the cinematography for that film. So I hope he gets a nomination for one of those two films, because both of them are beautifully shot. Looking at the Golden Globes list of cinematography, I have to say, I've got to air my opinion out here. Carol. That is not a pretty film. That is not a very good cinematography-wise film. And yet it got nominated over Brooklyn and this film for cinematography, which I find baffling.
And I mean, we'll have a review coming out soon for Carol. We've sort of like recorded a whole backlog of them at the minute when they came out, and we're sort of releasing them periodically, but we'll have a review out for Carol sometime soon.
I want to have my angry rant.
Yes.
I won't do it now.
Not now. Save your anger for another review. But the cinematography, I think, in all honesty, like just based on the trailer, I think that The Revenant is probably gonna get that award, because just that film looks gorgeous just from the trailer. So God only knows how it's going to look on the big screen, the full movie, but this is gorgeous. I mean, just the poster itself, I think this might win costume, or at least stand a good chance at winning costumes.
It's got stiff competition with costume. I mean, you've got
Fury
Mad
Road.
Max, you've also got Brooklyn, you've got, I think, Joy may be up for it as well.
Yeah.
And Suffragette.
So it has got competition, but I would like to see this movie walk away with at least something, because as I said, it's not a bad movie. It's not probably one I'd rush it's not one I'd rush back to see anytime soon, but there is a lot of good stuff there. And you were talking about that you'd like to see this movie again with sort of hints. There's those moments where Eddie Redmayne's walking through like a costume department, and he's sort of like doing almost the Russell Crowe gladiator walk, like brushing his hands past as he walks past. Stuff like that was really nice, and I think they do a lot of creative stuff with that. I guess that's really
we can
all
talk
we
about
can say.
the one spoiler.
Yeah, so
spoiler alert, people.
If you haven't seen Danish Girl and you want to see it, I'd click off from this bit now, because we're going to spoil a bit towards the end of this film now. If you know, it's up to you. It's not a massive spoiler, but I guess that it would annoy some people if they wanted to go in fresh. So you have been warned. Let's get into the spoiler. Take it away.
So at the end of the film, Eddie Redmayne goes through the surgery to, as my grandpa put it, lob his chopper off. Whilst watching the film.
That's amazing.
That is brilliant. So he is looking for a sex change surgery. It's groundbreaking, and for the first part, he gets the surgery done. He has to remove the penis, and then for the second part, he has to have a replacement vagina put in. However, he needs time to rest between the two surgeries. In the film, he gets angry, he gets emotional, and he takes the decision to go and get the surgery done early. And that kind of costs him, and he ends up becoming very ill and dying from the surgery. Yep. And I think there was very good acting performance in those scenes. It felt a little bit forced towards the end with Eddie Redmayne. Like he just kind of dipped his head back, gone with a croaky voice and gone, I am dying, like that. But
it just turns into Bane in his final moments. No, I'll agree that it wasn't quite as bad as I always go to this as the worst death in cinematic history. Talia al Ghul, Marion Cotillard's performance in The Dark Knight Rises.
Film, don't you?
I detest that movie with a fiery passion. That's a review for another time. But and yeah, I mean, this is the 1920s, so I'm sure the surgery in those times was a lot more brutal, I guess, a lot less refined than it probably is now.
No antibiotics, basically.
Yes, and they were discovering new things. I mean, they say that Eddie Redmayne, well, not Eddie Redmayne, I keep calling him by that. I have a bad problem with that. Einar, let's call him Einar, or Lily. There was a person before him that wanted to go in for the same operation, and I think they sort of like chickened out of it at the last minute, don't they? They say that they decided against it at the very last second. So technically, Lily would be the first person to undergo this operation. And I mean, right there, you sort of know that things are bad. He goes through the first one, and they say that he needs to put on so much weight because he needs his strength for the second one. And it just goes to show that patience is a virtue, because Lily is very impatient. She's like, I want to be a true woman now. And, what's her name? Alicia Vikander's like saying, no, get your strength back first before you go in for this next operation. Otherwise, you will probably die. And Lily doesn't listen, goes in for it, and passes away. And I think you were talking about earlier, you were saying that the very ending is quite cheesy, where they're on that hill. I think it was the same hill where Einar initially painted those pictures he used to. The same sort of trees in the hill. And then her scarf sort of blows off in the wind, and she goes, oh, that's a sign from Lily. And that did get a little bit cheesy there.
The cheesiest ending to an Oscar film, but we'll forgive it because the rest of the film is pretty good. So yeah, that's all I can say about the film. How about you?
I think I've pretty much said everything, so we'll just sort of summarise. I thought it was a very nice film. I thought it was beautifully shot. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. Very nice soundtrack. Decent performances all across the board. For me, Alicia Vikander steals the show. Eddie Redmayne, not so much. It's a perfectly serviceable performance.
He might win Best Actor for that, but that's only if Leonardo DiCaprio gets denied another one, we're assuming.
I so want DiCaprio to win one, because it won't just be a win for The Revenant. It'll be like sort of, almost be like a fellowship award. Yeah, a win for the internet, and it'll just be like one of those lifetime achievement awards. Even at his age, it'll be like, I'm sorry we haven't given you Oscars for all your other performances, but this one sort of patches all things up, right? So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. I think more than other years, this year is very open as to who could win. I know we've predicted some categories, and we will have a video out at some point where we...
As soon as the Oscar predictions come out, I can assure you that we will have a video out detailing our predictions on who is going to win each individual category and who may come up as a runner-up.
Yeah, and we're going to make it very competitive. We're going to have a score chart and everything.
And if we can get the live stream going, we'll get it going.
That'd be great if we could do that. Yeah, I'd like to do that. And if any of you watch Marvelous Movie Minute, you know that I'm pretty much well, actually, is that a spoiler? Depends when we upload them.
It depends, but
let's just say I'm not doing too great with that at the moment. So
I'm doing perfectly fine.
Yeah, so I would quite like to make the win back with the Oscar predictions when they come out. But Danish Girl, decent film. If it's still I think it's still playing. This came out.
Oh no, it's still playing in cinemas. Yeah.
I don't know how much longer it will have, because obviously more films are coming out and they'll probably start phasing films out quickly. But I would recommend checking it out if you like dramas, if you like these kind of movies. You pretty much know what kind of movie you're getting into just from the trailer.
If you like people with British accents, then this is the film for you.
Absolutely. So check Danish Girl out. I think it's a worthy watch. And yes, I pretty much said everything I can, really.
Surgery has never been attempted before.
You're my whole life. It could kill you.
It's my only hope. This is not my body. I have to let him go. I love you because you're the only person who made sense of me. Who made me possible.
So that was our review for The Danish Girl. Be sure to rate, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of The Danish Girl. Or if you haven't seen it, are you planning on seeing it, or do you think you're going to skip it? You can follow us at Facebook at facebook.com/cinemasavvy. We're on Twitter at cinema_savvy, and we're also at Letterboxd at cinema_savvy as well. So as we move into Oscar season, we'll be bringing you a lot more reviews. We've already got quite a few recorded, and it's just sort of, you know, releasing them as and when we can, because we're sort of backdated with a lot of editing at the moment. We'll get them all out to you, and also we have Revenant coming out very soon.
Oh, I want to see it so much.
Oh, I need that movie. I need that movie in my life right now. So yeah, just keep an eye on the channel, get involved, and yeah, that'll do it for today's review. So until next time, thanks for listening.